Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hope you are all going well and going well with Ramadan. Hope you are getting advantages from this holy month because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us this month as an opportunity to delete all of our sins and guilts. Hope you are getting more advantages from this holy month. After that, today I am going to discuss about reduction formulas. We have learned how to find trigonometric values by means of a reference angle. In addition, we can use some indifference formulas to derive new relation for a quadrantal angle and a variable angle. For example, we are going to find a relation for sine of pi over 2 plus y. Here we have two angles. The first angle is a quadrantal angle and the second angle is a variable angle. Quadrantal angle means that the terminal side of the angle coincided with when one of the axes of coordinate system. Here the terminal side of the angle is coincided with the positive side of y-axis. So pi over 2 is a quadrantal angle and y is a variable angle. We can derive a new relation for this sum of these two angles. That one angle is a quadrantal angle and the second angle is a variable angle. How we can find a new relation? We can use sum formula. Sum formula for sine function is sine x plus y is equal to sine x cosine y plus cosine x sine y. Here we are going to replace pi over 2 with x. The formula will become sine pi over 2 plus y is equal to sine pi over 2. Pi over 2 is replaced with x cosine y plus cosine pi over 2 plus sine y. Here we know the value of sine pi over 2 and cosine pi over 2. Sine pi over 2 is equal to 1. We will put the value of the sine of pi over 2 multiplied by cosine y plus cosine. The value of cosine pi over 2 is 0. So we should put the value of cosine pi over 2 multiplied by sine y. If we multiply 0 into sine y, so this term will be removed. If we multiply 1 into cosine y, we will have cosine y. So the formula or the relation of sine pi over 2 plus y is equal to cosine y, and we have derived this from using of some formula for sine function. Also, we can use difference formula for sine, cosine, tangent, and cotangent. But here we are going to derive a relation for cosine function for a variable angle and a quadrantal angle. The angle is 3 pi over 2 minus y. 3 pi over 2 is a quadrantal angle which the terminal side of the angle coincided with the negative side of y-axis. And also we have in variable angle we have y. So we are going to use the difference formula for cosine function. The difference formula for cosine function is cosine x minus y is equal to cosine x cosine y plus sine x sine y. Here we are going to replace 3 pi over 2 with x. Cosine 3 pi over 2 minus x is equal to cosine 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2 is replaced with 3 pi over 2 is instead of x multiplied by cosine y plus sine 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2 is also here instead of x multiplied by sine y. We know the values of cosine 3 pi over 2 and sine pi 3 over 2. Cosine 3 pi over 2 is equal to 0 and sine 3 pi over 2 is equal to minus 1. When we multiply 0 into cosine y, so this term will be removed. Only minus 1 multiplied by sine y will be remained. If we multiply these two, the answer will be minus sine y. So from these two examples, we know how to write sum or difference of a quadrantal angle and a variable angle as a single angle. We have learned how to write sum or difference of a quadrantal angle and a variable angle as a single angle. So we can find other reduction formulas because of the reduction of quadrantal angle. These formulas are called reduction formulas because we have reduced the quadrantal angle in second example, also in the first example. Also we can find another relations for another ratios in another quadrants. We have find all the reduction formulas in 4 different quadrants. We have find the reduction formula for first quadrant. We have find the reduction formulas for the second quadrant. We have find the reduction formulas for third quadrant and also for the fourth quadrant. The reduction formulas for first quadrant can be 2 types. Also the reduction formulas for the second quadrant will be also 2 types. The reduction formulas for the third quadrant also will be 2 types. And the reduction formulas for the fourth quadrant will also be 2 types. We can write the reduction formula for 0 plus alpha as sine 0 plus alpha as sine alpha. Cosine 0 plus alpha is equal to cosine alpha. Tangent 0 plus alpha is equal to tangent alpha. Cotangent 0 plus alpha is equal to cotangent alpha. Also, sine pi over 2 minus alpha is equal to cosine alpha. Cosine pi over 2 minus alpha is equal to sine alpha. Tangent pi over 2 minus alpha is equal to cotangent alpha. Cotangent pi over 2 minus alpha is equal to tangent alpha. And also the same for the other quadrants. But it is obviously it is difficult to memorize all these formulas because they are about 20 to 30 formulas. So instead of that, we should find the formulas by using the sum and difference method or by the procedure which I will explain it now.